A couple was fast asleep when suddenly someone broke into their bedroom. The girl was trembling with fear, and Nacho instantly lost all drowsiness. In no time, Nacho was forcibly dragged away by a few burly men. Nacho was then taken to the place where his father, Manuel, was playing mahjong. Before Nacho could figure out what was happening, Victor, one of Gus's men, loaded his gun. It turned out that Victor was there to kill Manuel. Nacho wanted to stop him but was firmly held back by two strong men in the rear seat. Was he really going to see his father for the last time in such a manner? Overwhelmed, Nacho struggled desperately with all his might. Fortunately, Victor did not immediately fire upon entering. Then, Gus arrived and sat in the passenger seat. He adjusted the rearview mirror and used his gaze to threaten Nacho. Nacho got straight to the point and asked Gus what he wanted him to do. Gus did not mince words. He directly stated his demand. Nacho was to act as his informant and gather all the intelligence on Lalo's activities. Nacho argued that Lalo did not trust him, but Gus was indifferent to these excuses. He only cared about the results he wanted. Seeing his innocent father being dragged into this, Nacho pleaded for him, but one look from Gus, and Nacho understood everything.
I'll find a way, I'll make him trust me. Okay?
The car's hazard lights signaled to Victor that the deal was done. Manuel, engrossed in his game of mahjong, had no idea he had just brushed with death. Meanwhile, Jimmy, now a licensed lawyer, held a promotional event where he gave away all his remaining phones for free. When the thugs outside the tent heard about this, they flocked to get the phones. However, nothing is truly free. Jimmy had set his contact number to speed dial on each phone. Every time he handed out a phone, he reminded the recipient to press the speed dial button if they encountered any trouble. The free phones were quickly distributed by Jimmy. To retain the remaining clients, Jimmy decided to offer his legal services at a 50% discount for the next 2 weeks. It's undeniable that Jimmy is a marketing genius. Not only does he have a strong sense of service, but he also built his brand exceptionally well. Even the pen holders on the table, the bags for the phones, and the promotional banners inside the tent all prominently featured the name Saul Goodman. Considering his unique clientele, Jimmy did not wear a traditional suit. Instead, he opted for a very flashy outfit. This made him appear as a professional who stood out from the thugs while also sharing some common ground with them, allowing him to quickly bridge any gaps. Together with his brilliant tongue, Jimmy made the first move in his career as a criminal defense lawyer.
Well done, Magic Man. We're just getting started.
Jimmy then brought in his old partner to shoot a commercial. He appeared as Saul Goodman in a public area of the courthouse, using Bill's case to heavily promote himself. Even the questions from the fake reporters were pre-arranged by Jimmy. In this way, Jimmy managed to gather a few more clients.
My business to defend the citizens of Albuquerque against injustices of every kind.
Wow, you must be really expensive though.
Not at all. I believe every man, woman, and child deserves speedy justice at a price they can afford.
Do you have a card?
Not for me, for a friend.
Yes, and please tell your friend that I make no judgments and I'm available 24 hours a day.
Can I get one of those, sir?
Oh, yeah.
What about me?
Yeah, oh, sure. Okay. Wow.
Meanwhile, Kim wasn't idle either. She recently started offering free legal services to those in need out of the goodness of her heart. Today, she defended Bobby, who was charged with theft. Given Bobby's prior offenses, he was facing a standard sentence of 2 to 4 years in prison. However, Kim, using her expertise, managed to negotiate a deal for Bobby to serve only 5 months. To Kim's astonishment, despite all her efforts, Bobby refused to accept the deal she had secured for him. Bobby insisted on going to trial, hoping to gain the judge's sympathy by highlighting his pregnant wife and child. In a bid to avoid any prison time, Kim tried to persuade Bobby's wife to talk sense into him. Unexpectedly, they were both utterly clueless about the law, leaving Kim exasperated. Just then, Jimmy arrived to ask Kim out for lunch, but Kim said she couldn't go because she hadn't convinced Bobby and his wife to accept the deal she'd secured. As a lawyer, Jimmy had heard about the case. Seeing how stupid Bobby was, Jimmy decided to use some tactics on him. He asked Kim to put on a show with him. Jimmy pretends to be the DA. He and Kim discuss the case where Bobby and the others can hear them. Jimmy stated that he had found new evidence and was planning to withdraw the deal, intending to scare Bobby into accepting the agreement by implying he would spend the rest of his life in prison. However, Kim felt that this was deceitful and adamantly opposed Jimmy's approach. Jimmy countered that his intention was for Bobby's own good, and there was no malice in it. As Kim had previously said, their actions needed to be aimed at doing good. Nonetheless, Kim still felt it was inappropriate. Seeing no other choice, Jimmy left on his own, leaving Kim deeply conflicted. When Kim returned to Bobby, he asked her who the man was. After a moment's hesitation, Kim decided to follow Jimmy's suggestion.
I really couldn't say. We'll find out soon enough. Bobby, I'm sorry. It looks like they want to make an example out of you. All right, well, we better go tell the judge that we're taking this to trial.
Yeah, you know what?
Hearing Kim's words, Bobby immediately lost his composure. He begged Kim to plead with the district attorney on his behalf, saying he was willing to accept the 5-month sentence. It has to be said that Jimmy's understanding of human nature has become second nature to him. Under Jimmy's influence, this ability in Kim also started to be awakened. Although this approach quickly achieved her desired outcome, Kim's professional ethics as a lawyer constantly reminded her that she shouldn't do this. Kim went to a secluded place to repent for her actions. The next morning, Jimmy asked Kim about the case from the previous day. Kim said that the client had accepted the 5-month deal, but she didn't feel happy about it because she had used deceit, something she was reluctant to do. Just as Kim was about to leave for work, Jimmy invited her to go to the cinema with him for the evening. However, Kim didn't give a direct answer, saying she would probably have to work overtime. Noticing that Kim seemed unhappy, Jimmy had a pretty good idea of the reason, so before Kim drove off, Jimmy caught up with her. He couldn't let her spend the whole day feeling down. Jimmy insisted on taking Kim to see a villa to imagine their future together. Because Kim's career was flourishing and Jimmy, who had just resumed work, had already signed over 40 clients' cases, their future income looked promising. Jimmy believed that buying a house was only a matter of time. Taking the opportunity of viewing the house, Jimmy confessed to Kim about his half-price promotion. Previously, Jimmy had mentioned this plan to Kim, but Kim didn't approve of Jimmy's plan. She worried that it might encourage criminals to think that the cost of crime was low and deliberately commit crimes, and she was also concerned about Jimmy's image. Jimmy excused himself by saying he had accidentally let it slip. He told Kim not to worry and assured her that people wouldn't deliberately commit crimes because of it. Jimmy thought Kim might be angry because of this. Kim then spoke her mind, saying she didn't want to solve clients' problems through deceit. It wasn't just about the client from yesterday. She didn't want to use this method for any future cases either. To make Kim happy, Jimmy promised her anything. After speaking her mind, Kim finally smiled. As long as Kim was happy, Jimmy was relieved. Seeing the house was a pretense. Making his girlfriend happy was the real goal. Even the salesperson could tell they weren't serious about buying a house and didn't bother to greet them when they left. So, the question is such a thoughtful boyfriend your type? Is such a rational and honest girlfriend what you want? Criminal defense attorney Saul started offering a 50% discount promotion to quickly attract clients. Upon hearing this, two small-time thugs felt that their cost of committing crimes had significantly decreased, so they immediately went out to commit indiscriminate crimes. This precisely confirmed Kim's suspicions. However, what Jimmy didn't know was that his actions would trigger a butterfly effect, eventually dragging him into the whirlpool. Two thugs first went to buy some contraband, and when they ran out of money, they committed a robbery. They used the stolen money to buy more contraband. After indulging in extreme pleasure, they took advantage of their excitement to cause disturbances in the community. This time, they got more money and planned to buy 10 packs of contraband in one go. The lookout gave the signal, and Mouse upstairs counted the packets and dropped them down the drain pipe. Unexpectedly, there were too many packets this time, and they got stuck in the pipe. The thugs, not receiving their goods, started banging on the pipe. An argument broke out between the two parties. Meanwhile, Domingo, the small-time boss in charge of the area, was playing cards with his boss, Lalo. Nacho, trying to gain Lalo's trust, attempted to get closer to Lalo, but Lalo warned him not to talk business while he was playing cards. Flush with cash, Lalo bet $200, scaring the timid Domingo into retreating. It turned out Lalo had 2 low cards, while Domingo had a pair of 8s. Lalo mocked Domingo, calling him Crazy 8, and this was how Domingo got his nickname. Crazy 8 then received a call from his territory saying that 2 guys were causing trouble, so he had to go and resolve the issue himself. With no better option, Crazy 8 climbed up the pipe to fix it himself, trying to retrieve the contraband that got stuck. but he couldn't get it out after a long time. At that moment, the flashy modified car of a roadside thug attracted the police. The thugs under the ladder saw the police and scattered in fear, leaving Crazy 8 to be arrested by the police. The police called for reinforcements and surrounded the house. Lalo and Nacho, hearing the news, rushed to the scene. In their rush to escape, Mouse left the entire batch of contraband in the house. The contraband was on the verge of being seized. Nacho saw an opportunity to prove himself. If he could retrieve the contraband, Lalo would definitely see him in a new light. So, he decisively got out of the car and went to take back the contraband. This indeed surprised Lalo, who thought Nacho was just going to get himself killed. Nacho quickly climbed onto the roof, determined to earn Lalo's trust. Nacho was really going all out. Fortunately, at the last moment, Nacho managed to escape. Just when Lalo thought Nacho had been caught, Nacho returned with the contraband. Nacho's desperate actions weren't in vain. The next day, when he reported to Lalo, Lalo allowed him to make his own decisions, a sign of Lalo's trust in him. Lalo then asked Nacho about Crazy 8's background, worried that Crazy 8 might betray him after being arrested. Nacho explained that his family and Crazy 8's family had been friends for generations, and they knew each other very well. Nacho vouched for Crazy 8, assuring Lalo that he would keep his mouth shut. Nacho assumed Lalo wanted him to handle the situation, but Lalo revealed he had a better idea. Meanwhile, Jimmy, who now had over 40 clients, was waiting for District Attorney Suzanne to appear in court. He wanted to negotiate privately to quickly resolve his cases and receive his legal fees promptly. While waiting for Suzanne, Jimmy efficiently progressed several other cases.
Hey, my featherweight was simply defending himself against your raging bull.
No sale. Leader's doing the full freight. Welcome back to the law, McGill.
It's Goodman, and you'll be back. Veronica. Hey, you got something for me? Muchas gracias. All right, let's see. Long sleeves covering the tats, that's excellent. And pull your hair back and lose the hardware. Her honor doth protest a chin pillar.
Jimmy's efficiency was unparalleled. After a round of busy work, Suzanne still hadn't appeared in court. Jimmy continued practicing his conversation for when he would meet Suzanne. At that moment, Howard passed by and saw that Jimmy was back on his feet. He mentioned that his firm's business was also doing well and wanted to invite Jimmy to join HHM. Before Howard could finish, Suzanne walked out of the courtroom. Jimmy didn't bother talking to Howard. He directly chased after Suzanne and stated his purpose. Since Suzanne was responsible for more than a dozen of Jimmy's cases, he thought they were both busy and wanted to find some time to quickly resolve a few minor cases. But Suzanne remembered that Jimmy had scheduled the appointment for next Tuesday. She told Jimmy to wait until then. Jimmy made the excuse that his clients wanted quick results, but Suzanne wasn't buying it. She publicly exposed Jimmy's insincerity.
You're looking for turnover. You want to churn through more clients, make more money. That's your problem, not mine.
Jimmy was left speechless by Suzanne's blunt response. However, Jimmy is not one to give up easily without achieving his goal. Seizing the moment when Suzanne was alone in the elevator, Jimmy pretended to be on a call and hurried into the elevator with her. But before the elevator could start moving, it broke down. Jimmy acted very panicked, desperately calling for help. But to no avail. The sensible Suzanne called the emergency repair hotline and was told that a repair crew would be sent immediately. What Suzanne didn't know was that this was all part of Jimmy's plan. While they waited in the elevator, Jimmy didn't remain idle. He mumbled the draft of his upcoming court defense aloud. Suzanne, annoyed by the noise, asked him to read silently. Jimmy pretended to comply but continued to mumble. His goal was to get Suzanne to handle the cases they shared responsibility for during this time. Suzanne, fed up with Jimmy's antics, gave in. So, they sat in the elevator for quite some time, dealing with each of Jimmy's cases one by one. By the time the elevator was fixed, Jimmy had only 3 cases left unresolved. After Suzanne left, Jimmy made a deal with the elevator repairman. Jimmy strutted out of the courthouse, unaware that he was about to encounter an important client. When he sees that it's Tuco's man Nacho, Jimmy hangs up the phone first. Because he's had a taste of Nacho's power in the first season, Jimmy tried to excuse himself, saying he was busy, but Nacho had already opened the door for him. It seemed there was no avoiding it. Jimmy's promotional campaign had indirectly led to Crazy 8's arrest. To defend Crazy 8, Nacho thought of the slick-talking Jimmy. This was karma in action. Since then, the 2 main threads of the show have officially intersected and the plot is about to get more and more exciting. If you enjoyed watching, be sure to like and follow so you don't miss the upcoming exciting episodes.